This video will be a tour of the resort community Sunriver, located about 20 miles south of Bend, Oregon. And because there's so much to see nearby, I'll also include several great day trips, including Benham Falls, the Volcanic Monument, Paulina Lake, and the Obsidian Flow. Sunriver is a small resort community focusing on a lot of activities for families. The main village is a network of cute cabins, rentals, and vacation homes connected by 34 miles of bike paths. There's more to do here than I could possibly show you in one video, so I wanted to feature 3 of the main activities, including the village, the SHARC Aquatic Center, and the bike path down the Deschutes, stopping at the Marina. The village is the main hub of the Sunriver community. It's a large shopping and entertainment center. There's easily over 40 shops and restaurants, shops for souvenirs, art, crafts, restaurants, coffee shops. You could easily spend half a day just exploring the village. And because of all the bike paths, Sunriver is heavily oriented towards biking. You definitely need to bike when you're here. If you don't have one, if you're visiting the area, there's plenty of places that you can rent one for the day. Coming around to the main open area of the village, the entertainment here is mostly centered around family activities. You can see the bounce house and the climbing wall off to my left. There's also a ton of other stuff to do. There's a train that'll drive kids around the place. There's a little area here in front of me with bumper cars. There's mini golf, all ice skating, just a ton of activities for the family. The next must-visit destination inside of Sunriver is the SHARC Aquatic Center. It's really fun. There's several large pools, hot tubs, a lap swimming pool, heated indoor pool area. Outside is a fantastic lazy river fed by 2 water slides. If you're renting here, check to see if your rental includes the SHARC admission pass. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It costs $30 if you don't have one, but it's a huge perk if your rental comes with one. And here I am coming down the water slide right now. And if you want to get away from the main crowded areas of Sunriver, my favorite thing to do here is to ride the bike path west along the river. It brings you past the marina, the stables, the airport, as well as several miles of views along the Deschutes River. Starting on the north end of the bike path, this is going to take you past the marina. This is where you can rent kayaks, canoes, and paddleboards. It wasn't open for the season yet when I was here, but if it is open, you can either sign up for a class or take a float down the river. From the marina here, it's going to run 6 miles north down the Deschutes River, ending near Benham Falls, which I'll show you in a little bit, where the company will come pick you up and bring you back to the beginning. Now, jumping back on the bike and continuing down the bike path, this is going to take you several hours. It's a really pretty drive. There's a couple of interesting things to see along the way, but for the most part, it's just a really pretty scenic bike path along the Deschutes River. If you have time when you're here, you can go down to the stables right along the bike path, rent a horse. They have several guided tours, and I think pretty reasonable rates. They have the small Sunriver Airport off there in the background, followed by several miles of pristine bike path river views. Getting closer back to the other end on the south end of the bike path, you'll start to run into some golf courses, some wetlands, and some really pretty houses. And I'm not a golfer, but if you are, Sunriver has some of the best highly rated courses in the state. And coming around outside, we're on the backside of the Sunriver Resort. And I think this is a great view because even if you're not a golfer, don't enjoy some of the activities here, it's hard to deny just the beauty of this place, the outdoor nature. You see, that's the resort off there in the background. Just a really pretty setting for pretty much anybody to enjoy. The area around Sunriver was formed largely through volcanic activity, which gives it some unique landscapes worth spending some time to explore. One of the easiest day trips from Sunriver is Benham Falls, just to the north. You can get there either by bike or it's a short drive in a car. The walk from the trailhead is relatively easy. It's about a mile out and a mile back, 2 mile round trip. The path is flat and wide. It was an old railroad track, so you're not going to have any steep hills or anything. Gives you some really pretty views of the river as you walk up there. These falls were formed from a large lava flow that blocked the river, causing a pretty dramatic change in elevation in a really short period of time. There's a couple of ways that you can get down to the rapids. I prefer just to walk down. There's kind of a steep path that gets you right down to where the falls are, which I think is one of the best views. There's also a path you can go a little bit farther on and get some views from above. I just wanted to show you the takeout from the river if you were to float down from the marina. This is where you're going to want to get out of the water. There's a little rope going across the river a little farther down, but don't miss this because then you'll be taking a trip down the falls. The next easy day trip from Sunriver I'll show you is called the Newberry Volcanic National Monument. Here we are at the Lava Lands Visitor Center. It's a nice place to give you some opportunity to go hiking on some of the lava flows that formed Benham Falls just north of Sunriver. The visitor center has some nice interpretive material, lets you see the volcanic activity in the area and how a lot of these lava flows was formed. Really interesting 3D model as well. But for me, the most interesting part of this excursion is to get out on the trail. A fairly short walk on a paved trail, although sometimes steep, bringing you on this kind of meandering trail through some really interesting geological formations. Some interpretive signs along the way to tell you what's going on here, as well as some really pretty vegetation if you're there at the right time. Again, for us, this was June. It's definitely worth it to make it all the way to the end of the trail on the overlook. You get some really great views. The lava flow is out there in front of me. You can see off to my left side on those tree lines, that's where the river flows through in Benham Falls. Some really pretty mountains off in the distance. I believe that's Mount Bachelor, Broken Top, and the South Sister off in the distance. Next, I want to show you a place that's a little bit farther of a day trip, but it's definitely worth it. It has some really pretty unique scenery that I think is totally worth the 45-minute drive. Right here is Lake Paulina in front of us, and next we'll head to the Obsidian flow. The Newberry volcano is actually the largest volcano complex in the Cascade Mountain range. You wouldn't tell because it's not the tallest, but it's very large, about the size of Rhode Island. This is part of that complex. This is called the Large Obsidian Flow, just south of Lake Paulina. A short hike from the trailhead and maybe a couple of dozen very steep metal steps will get you to one of the areas that I think is probably one of the most unique and interesting areas in Oregon, which I've explored pretty extensively. I hadn't been here before, so this was a treat for me to see this area. Very, very worth your while. We're at the top of the steps overlooking the edge of the Obsidian flow, very abrupt edge. All those little black mounds you can see off in the background are obsidian. And from here, it's a short but moderately treacherous, steep trail that's going to take you on a maze of rocks and glass. You're going to see three main types of rock here: is pumice, light pumice. This is obsidian, very hard, glass-like material, and then a little bit denser but still very light gray pumice. For me, this area is really interesting. I just love wandering around here. There's a large chunk of obsidian in front of me. Basically, it's a rock with a very high silica content, cooled very quickly, giving you what is essentially just a large hunk of black glass. Getting to the top of the outlook here, you're going to get some really pretty views of the area. We're on the north end of the Obsidian flow right now. Looking north, that's Paulina Lake off in the background. You can see off to the right that high peak is going to be the Newberry volcano. Out of view to the east is going to be East Lake. And then as we pan left a little bit, you're going to see Paulina Peak, which is another day hike if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous. Coming back down the trail off the Obsidian flow, this is going to conclude our tour of Sunriver and some of the surrounding day trip areas. Again, I barely had a chance to scratch the surface on this amazing part of Eastern Oregon. There's so much more to do in this area that I hope to have a chance to show you in the future. If you want to see some more of this area into the area of the north, I did a video on Bend, Oregon recently, which I'll post to in the description below. And please let me know if you have any questions about Sunriver in the comments below. And again, thanks for watching.